It's official. Everyone on the internet is possessed.
The world is weird. We investigate unexplained phenomena.
It's a bit convenient, isn't it?
There's something happening in the world that is evil.
God is here. And the devil is too.
What the hell?
What happened?
Religion.
Evil, new season June 12th. Binge season 1 and 2 now exclusively on Paramount+.
We've seen the first two games of the NBA Finals. Matt, what stood out to you so far?
I really like what Boston was able to do in game one, come into the Bay and take a game. Golden State was able to rebound, and now we're heading back for game three, man. So it's been very impressive. But Steph, Jason Tatum, the usual suspects.
There's no better place to feel the action of the NBA Finals than DraftKings Sportsbook. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on either team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. It's that simple.
You can also bet on the finals with the same game parlays. Stay tuned later this week to see who we're riding with on the All the Smoke same game parlays. Let's get this money together.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code SMOKE. Bet just $5 on any pro basketball team and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code SMOKE at DraftKings Sportsbook.
After a successful 8-season run, Quinn Snyder decides to step down. And immediately following that, you're hearing Mitchell is kind of in limbo with the organization and what he might possibly want to do. He still has 4 years, $135 million left with a player option in his final year. What's next for the Jazz?
What's next for the Jazz is a repeat of the last 8 years. Nothing.
Welcome back to another edition of What's Burnin', New York version.
Yeah.
We out here. Free BG.
Free BG all day.
Free BG.
It's free BG to BG free.
Man, obviously, Brittany Griner has been detained for 100+ days. When this show drops, it'll be 111 days since she's been locked up. Very unfortunate situation. Right now, man, we just want to send our love out to her. Continue to hold it down. Thoughts and prayers to her and her family as she continues to go through this bullshit, man.
It's free BG to BG free. What you talking about?
Talk to him. Jack, game 2 of the finals last night. Pretty evenly matched first half. Golden State outscores Boston 35-13 in the third. And it was pretty much over after that. Tatum, 21 in the first half, finished with 28. Brown had 17, didn't shoot the ball very well. Horford, Smart, and White, who had 65 combined points in game 1, only ended up with 16. White had 12 of those. Talk to me about what you saw last night in game 2.
Well, one, Steve Kerr did a great job of switching lineups, throwing some different athletic, bigger guys out there to deal with Al Horford and shut him down. I think if the Celtics expecting Marcus Smart to get 20, 25 a game, then they got another thing coming. Because I know he's one of the best defensive players in the league, and he's the defensive player of the year, but he's not all that on offense to me. It takes a lot of energy out of you on offense when you got to chase Steph and Clay around. So Tatum has been great. I think you got to expect that. He's been great the whole playoffs. So, I mean, I'm expect him to be well, but what is everybody else going to do? They're not going to have big games like they had in game one. Golden State did a great job of making – Steph did a great job of carrying the team, doing his job. And for Tatum to win by that margin and Clay not have a good game, it says a lot, and that has the Warriors feeling great about themselves going to Boston. So, it played out just like I said. I knew Golden State was going to have a better game. I knew they was going to be more physical and play better on defense, and it turned out their way.
Shout out GP2 for making his return. Otto Porter getting healthy. Good to see both those boys back on the court. With all that said, Boston did what they were supposed to do. They went on the road and got one game. And I think if we've learned anything, is not to overreact to one game. Boston had a great fourth quarter in game 1 and blew them boys out. Golden State, second half run, blew them out. So it's 1-1. They're going back to Boston. But I agree with you. Again, Smart, Horford, and White combined for over 60 points in game 1. So my question after game 1 is, can they consistently do that?
Right.
And, again, we're not going to overreact. I think it's going to be somewhere in that middle. Smart has actually scored really well during the playoffs. Horford has played really well, but I don't think they're going to be at 65, those combined, and I also don't think they're going to be as low as they were. So I think they'll find a nice, steady median moving forward. But I'm excited, man. I think this is going to be a great series. Both teams are capable of winning on the other team's floor. So I'm excited for game 3.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
The Draymond effect. It's funny when teams say, oh, all this talking or what is Draymond doing is not going to affect us, but they're talking about it. So obviously They're thinking about it. Very solid game, like 9, 7, and 6. A lot of great big defensive plays. To the people that don't understand, talk about Draymond's importance that doesn't necessarily always show up within the numbers.
Greg Popovich will tell you, every championship team needs a Ron Artest, needs a Draymond game, needs a Steven Jackson. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's just players to funk it up, to throw shit in the game. And Draymond's been great at that, you know what I'm saying? And he know his role on offense, or his role is not exciting, it's not sexy to see, but the things he do out there really matter. Now, on the flip side, I have to say this. He kind of walking a fine line, because those same fouls and the steals that he got at home and the little kicks and all that, he getting kicked out on the road. So I think he need to tone it down a little bit, bro, because he's pushing a fine line. And now, if you get kicked out of game or something this series,
trouble.
But not even that, Matt. It's no excuse for you now. Now you a dumb player. You know what I'm saying? Now it ain't no excuse. We made an excuse for you in Cleveland and all that. You know what I'm saying? That it really wasn't that serious. But now if you do something like that today, after all that's happened in your career, after all you've been through with the referees, at this point to win another championship, if you do something to jeopardize your championship right now, it's going to look real bad on Draymond Green. But as great as he is and as much as he do for that team, he has to pull it back a little, bro. He has to pull it back a little, because if we was playing – some of that shit he doing, on my soul, bro. On my soul, he would have been on his back pockets. You know what I'm saying? I love Lil Bro because we the same type of player. And I'm a Warrior fan, so I'm saying it's from passion of wanting them to win, not hating on Lil Bro. You know what I'm saying? I just want him to tone it down a little bit and continue to be great in what he's doing, and don't let that shit take away from him being helping his team. Because I know sometimes when doing games, I get too caught up in that, and it affects my play and it hurts my team. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. I'm speaking from experience, so that's all I'm trying to say to him. Don't hurt the team.
I think he understands his importance, but then at the same time, like every foul call, he's jumping up and reacting. I'm just like, bro, they need you. Like, obviously everybody, but he's that key component to me that you lose to Draymond Green, and that's it.
That's it. They don't have a chance.
So now, again, he's on that fine line. I hope he stays on the right side of the law. So Draymond did his job, from talking to the players on the court, talking to the bench, the coaches, the referees. Flip side, Marcus Smart is that guy for them. Obviously a different type of leader, defensive player of the year. What do you feel like Marcus Smart needs to do to keep his team where they need to be mentally?
He got a tough job. If that's his job and his job as the guard Steph, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how he can do both.
And score.
You know what I mean? And score. I can't expect that from him this series. For him to be the emotional leader, Al Horford or somebody going to have to take that responsibility this series. This series, the responsibility he has of scoring, being able to chase stuff around, and be a vocal leader, like that's a lot in the finals with your stars being two other players. You know what I'm saying? So somebody else got to shoulder some of that.
I agree. So it'll be interesting to see, again, game by game, headed to Boston. You know, TD Guards is going to be rocking. We're going to see what happens on Wednesday.
Beantown.
Again, pretty even first half for Golden State. I think it started turning with Poole's buzzer beater to go into halftime. And I said he's going to hit that bitch too. As soon as he pulled up and shot, I was like, this is going in.
He had just hit a three right before that.
He hits it, and after that, the wheels kind of came off. Poole, who struggled in game one, who's been amazing. He was up for most improved player of the year, averaging 20-plus points a game in the playoffs. His numbers are down after game one. Had 17 last night. How important is he to this team?
Very important. He gives them a boost, and the lack of offense that Draymond gives them with the starting five, he gives them that boost when he comes in the game. I think he didn't play himself into a big bag this offseason, and I'm happy for him for that. But this kid can really play, man. I'm telling you, I got Golden State going on the road and winning these games, winning his next game. But he's going to have a big game in this series, and it's going to be on the road. Poole going to have a big game on the road in this series, bro. And I'm just happy he was able to get a good feel about his offensive game at home before they go on the road.
Yeah.
And those two big shots, before the half was big.
I love Poole. I love his game. They found a diamond in the rough. Obviously going to be up for some big money, probably 20-plus per year moving forward. But he is a key component. Another key component who has struggled this far is Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Trying to find his rhythm. And he's always good for one or two big games during the series, whether it's at home or road. It doesn't matter to Klay. As someone who is one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen struggling right now, what kind of advice would you give him?
Well, like my boy Loso say, that's Black Cal. That's Black Cal. Well, I ain't worried about Black Cal. You know what I'm saying? Clay gonna shoot the motherfuckers if he miss them. He gonna shoot the motherfuckers when he make them. And when he make them, you might as well just go make sure you up in front of the TV because it's gonna be must see. He's due for at least 2 big games.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he gonna have them. I'm not worried about Clay. He's been here. He's been through a lot. You know what I'm saying? For him to be playing right now at the level he's playing at, still competing with a chance to win a championship on his team, that says a lot, everything he's been through. So I ain't worried about Clay, and there's nothing I would tell him. Throw the ball up and let Clay do his thing.
Steph has continued to be Steph. You know, there's a lot of talk coming into the finals that he needs a finals MVP to solidify his greatness. I think he's the only person to average, 25, 5, and 5 throughout the playoffs. Been killing it again this year. What makes Steph so good on these big moments?
I think he kind of reminds me a lot of Tim Duncan. He had even kill. You can't get him out of his game. You know what I'm saying? He's so locked in. The talking, the trash, the pushing him down.
Minus the dancing.
You know what I'm saying? Minus the dancing. He locked in. But I just think the dynamic that he brings to the game basically makes him unguardable. If you see the shot, he shot from the hash at damn near at half court. I'm talking about off the dribble though. And knew it was cash, and he's done that a number of times. So just the way he shoot the ball and the problems he posed to the defense, dog, nobody's ever seen no shit like this before, man. This kid is definitely a once in a lifetime talent, bro. I'm glad I was there when we got a chance to play with him a little bit. But this motherfucker here is unreal, dog.
Something else. So looking forward to continue to see his excellence. Game 3, moving to Boston, TD Gardens. Like I said earlier, we'll be rocking. Boston is currently favored by 3.5 points, according to our favorite sponsors, DraftKings. Who needs to step up in Boston? You already spoke. You know what Tatum's going to give you. You know what Brown's going to give you. Who needs to step up for the Celtics to get that win at home?
Well, normally at home, guys like Pritchard step up and have big games to give them boosts. To win this series, they're going to need another big game from Al Horford. You know, that's the only reason why they got that win in Golden State. They same supporting cast got to step up. We know what Tatum going to do. We know what Brown going to do. If that supporting cast really going to have to give them that game one type of game again.
No, I agree. Again, guys obviously don't really play better. You know, when you speak on role players, they normally play better at home. They played well in Game 1. Can they come back and play well in Game 3? The Celtics have shot the 3 ball well. Just, you know, Golden State made those third quarter runs. I'm really excited to see what these guys can do. You know, this is their first taste of that big dance.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they showed in Game 1 they wasn't afraid of the moment. They've come back down to earth after Game 2. So Game 3 going back to home, I'm sure they're very confident. And it'll be interesting to see how they come out the gates on Wednesday night. So a lot of different matchups, cool matchups. It's kind of hard to say matchups because there's so much switching. But what any particular matchup you paying attention to?
I like the Jaylen Brown-Klay Thompson matchup. Those 2 of the best players in the league, and just to see both of these guys play at the highest level going against each other right now. Jaylen Brown is playing a little better than Klay, but the series is still even. So, yeah. But we'll see Game 3.
I like that Smart Curry matchup.
Of course.
Curry in his career shoots 27% against Smart, which is his 4th worst against any single opponent. So it hasn't necessarily held true in these first 2 games, but Marcus Smart makes that boy work. Physical with him, can move his feet, quick hands. So I like watching those 2 greats go to work. Next up on the radar, presented to you by DraftKings. We're going to switch it up a little bit. Stack 2 teams, being no stranger to the long ball. Team props on odds for 3-point shots made. Boston Celtics are minus 110 to go over 14.5. Also minus 110 to be under 14.5. So if you're a betting man, next game, Boston going to hit over 14.5 or under 14.5?
I say first home game, they're going to hit over 14.5.
Minus 110. Golden State going into Game 3 are minus 120 to be over 14.5 and plus 100 to be under 14.5.
I got them winning. I'm saying over.
The winning's got to be over. So you got 2 over. It's going to be a shootout is what you're saying.
Yeah, pew.
Pew, pew.
Where you vest?
Man, closing thoughts. Big shout out. Always showing a lot of love. And obviously his company sent us these free BGs. Shout out Uninterrupted.
You did.
And LeBron James announced he is a billionaire. The 3 Comma Club. Give this man his flowers real quick.
Shoot him some. Let me hold some. It's a little something. Nah, congratulations, bro. We all know that's big, you know what I mean? But just to see him reach his feet and make his homeboys millionaires, that's what I always talk about. Like, man, he did go just for that, man. So keep inspiring us, man. Keep, showing basketball players that, it ain't just about basketball. It's how you carry yourself, how you treat your family. You know what I mean? The whole aspect of how it should be done, bro. So I salute you.
Well, when you sit back and look 30, 40 years from now, the hype that surrounded him, and for him to be able to live up to the hype and exceed all expectations, walk that fine line of professionalism and still living your life, win titles, be one of the greatest players of all time, and then to top that off, become a billionaire, make your homeboys millionaires. I mean, there's not much more you could really say. I mean, really just salute this guy. I mean, in a day and age where it's cooler to show hate, it's beautiful to see him rise above all this shit and cancel all that noise, man, and just continue to be him. Another thing is a personal shout out. We also saw you tweet the other day, be looking for you to come on some podcasts. Me and Jack both been on your line, bro.
Yeah, I DM'd you too, dog.
I'll DM you after the show, but you know all the smokers where you got to pull up.
Facts.
You already know. No surprise here, Jack, for me, or actually for both of us. We've always said that Utah is a solid regular season team, but we're always missing that one piece. We didn't trust them in the playoffs. After a successful 8-season run, Quinn Snyder decides to step down. And immediately following that, you're hearing Mitchell is kind of in limbo with the organization and what he might possibly want to do. He still has 4 years, $135 million left with a player option in his final year. Two-part question. What's next for the Jazz? And do you see Mitchell in a Jazz uniform next year?
What's next for the Jazz is a repeat of the last 8 years. Nothing. What's next for Donovan Mitchell is going somewhere else. I'm telling you.
Could it be here?
Even Quinn Snyder. He want to go somewhere else. And you know what I'm saying? Like
he stepped down.
This is a graveyard, bro. This is a graveyard. Y'all been sitting over here dying for years, cheering for the Jazz, bro. For years. Quinn Snyder done had enough. He's like, man, look, bro, I'm just going to go and get somebody else die here because I'm not going to do it.
Still fairly young coach. He went in looking like a young,
great coach,
energetic coach.
Great coach.
Come out looking a little older, a little worn down. But for him, I think that says a lot, man. He stepped down. Like, it's not like he's stepping down to retire. I'm sure he still wants to work. He's just like, I've had enough of this shit.
Yeah.
I had enough of this shit. 3 teams off the top of your head you think Donovan Mitchell would fit on?
He would fit good in Atlanta with Trae Young.
Ooh.
He'll be nice in Atlanta with Trae Young. Because they can both be free. Ooh, that'll look nice. Of course, New York. I think he'll help them. They wouldn't be that good, but he'll look good in New York. And I also think, for me, to make a biggest move he can make, it would be to go to Miami.
Ooh, I was going to say him.
Some type of way get Donovan Mitchell and Jimmy Butler together.
Jimmy Butler side by side?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a lot of buckets. Shout out to our brother Rasheed Wallace. Just signed as Darvin Ham's assistant. Shout out our brother Darvin Ham, man. Head job in LA. It's not going to be easy, man. That's a hot seat. You're setting yourself up for a lot of criticism, but I think D Ham is, obviously paid his dues, come behind a great lineage of, coaches he's done his time in front of. But I think continuing to add people like Rasheed Wallace, the Lakers need coaches that are going to hold these dudes in that locker room accountable. And I know for a fact both them dudes, you're not talking back to Darvin Ham or Rasheed Wallace. I know Rasheed might. Yeah. Darvin Ham's big as a motherfucker, so I think accountability is going to be big in that locker room. It's going to be important. So I think those are 2 big pickups.
A lot of people was worried about Darvin Ham. As players, we loved it because we know who he is. You know what I mean? But bringing Rasheed now, oh, yeah, that's what they need. That locker room is going to be totally different. The whole dynamic of how they approach games. You know what I'm saying?
But
how they
still
practice.
Cool though. But still cool.
It's gonna be the culture.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the actual basketball culture that respects the game, but also understands. You know what I'm saying? We gotta enjoy this shit too. It's gonna be all that in one, and you got 2 of the perfect guys for that.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think it just shine lights more on guys that have been there and done that. Not that you have to have that to be successful, but I feel to relate to these younger players that are hard to really get their respect and attention. You need motherfuckers that can put that work in. And both these guys have put that work in. So
Ime Udoka first year here in the finals. I don't want to hear nothing. That's prime example.
Yep. Well, that's a wrap, man. What's Burnin? You can catch this every week on Showtime Basketball YouTube. And
on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Show Basketball. Peace.
I'm not comfortable living in a hot dog. It's still way better than your house, kitty! I can't do this anymore, Mom. If you won't listen to me, then I really don't have a choice.
So you're running away?
South Park, The Streaming Wars, now streaming.
Okay, well, I'll see ya.
Bye, honey.
Cute.
Exclusively on Paramount Plus.